Have you ever wondered what lies behind the success of an influential rock band? How a group deals with triumph and failure, and how, in a few very rare cases, a band can make a genuine impact on the music scene? The answer to all these questions lies in the fortunes and aspirations of 5 musicians from Oxford, a band who've sold millions of albums worldwide while adopting an uncompromising stance toward the music industry. A group who've embraced politics, pop music and personal emotions, and who are scarily as relevant now as they were 10 years ago. The band are Radiohead. Tom York on vocals and guitar, Ed O'Brien on guitar, Phil Selway on drums, and brothers Johnny Greenwood on guitar and Colin Greenwood on bass. Join me, Steve Lamacq, as we explore the Radiohead story. Over the next 4 weeks, we'll be reappraising the rise of Radiohead from their early rehearsals in a village hall in Oxford to releasing #1 albums around the world. But just as importantly, we'll be examining the chemistry of what makes a rock band tick, and why Radiohead have succeeded in not only selling records, but bending the rules of the rock music business.
Tom York.
I was like unplugging all the telephones in the studio and
telling the record company and management and anybody who came near us to f*** off, because it was either that or this was it, bye-bye.
Colin Greenwood.
Various people in the record business, they thought that they could have English bands could have big hits in America, and the guy in the record company, when he signed us, he thought he was getting a sort of quirky indie band with loud guitars who could rock or whatever, cross between this, and it's all completely wrong.
Phil Selway.
In effect, we were, for the music, we were putting as much time into that side of things as we do now. It's just that, it was very much kept to ourselves because we didn't have the whole thing of having a record to promote. We didn't have tour schedules or anything like that.
Ed O'Brien.
There were things so Spinal Tap, turning up at a signing session in a stretched limo, 10 years ago, a 3-hour journey, frazzled out of New York, and the limos are really not comfortable things to ride in, they're horrible. And you arrive for a signing session on Long Island, and there's no one there except a works leaving do.
Johnny Greenwood.
Power is in a strange place, or it's among strange people that isn't necessarily to do with politics at all. It just feels like it's hard to know who's in control.
Ambition makes you look pretty ugly.
Later in the series, we'll explore how Radiohead have made their albums, the highs and lows of their live career, and talk to the band about their latest album. But in this programme, we trace their development as a band and the incidents that have shaped them as a group.
Oh no, Papa's dead, long live Pop. It died an ugly death by back catalog. And now you know, I guess you know well. And now you know you realize. Oh no, Papa's dead, it just gave up. We'll raise the dead, but they won't stand up. And radio is I'm an outlaw. And now you know you're gonna die. This message for us. So what? Papa's dead, it's no great loss. So many facelifts, his face flew off. The emperor has no clothes on, and his skin is peeling off. Oh no, Papa's dead, long live Pop. One final line of coke to Jackie and Mo. Jackie and Mo. He left this message for
There was nothing particularly special about the way Radiohead got together. They were a set of school friends who began rehearsing in a local village hall. In fact, the weekly get-togethers lent the band its first name, On a Friday.
Destiny, protect me from the world. Destiny, hold my hand, protect me from the world. Here we are, without running out of confusion, and it don't seem no confusion anywhere.
But the bond they formed between them and the belief they had in the nascent group was enough to keep the band alive where so many others have fallen apart. Even after leaving school, the 5 members would return from the various universities which they'd enrolled at and spend their spare time diligently practicing and writing new material. Drummer Phil Selway.
We got back regularly during holidays, during term time, and in effect we were, for music, we were putting as much time into that side of things as we do now. It's just that, you know, it was very much kept to ourselves because we didn't have the whole thing of having a record to promote. We didn't have tour schedules or anything like that. there was a lot of other time there for other aspects of our lives. But in terms of actually staying focused on the music as we do now, it's been there from the outset.
Frontman Tom York.
It was a very random affair. I mean, the most we ever worked was when we kind of mostly left school, and we set up in this village hall and terrorised this village. And I guess musically it was fairly shocking, on and off, but there was no need to be one thing or the other. Well, we were just writing songs and nobody's hearing it anyway, because we weren't really doing any gigs particularly, and we spent quite a long time like that. I mean, all the way to university, every break time or whatever, after we left school, every break, winter, summer and Easter, was always just working.
The endless hours of rehearsal away from public attention was an early indication of Radiohead's main forte. The time spent working on their music suggested an attention to detail which would become one of their trademarks. It's worth remembering as well that at the start of the 90s, as Radiohead were about to emerge, American rock music was still the flavour of the month in the UK. Apart from a strong alternative scene in Manchester, led by the Stone Roses and Happy Mondays, it was the US groups, inspired by Nirvana, who were capturing the public's imagination. But not for the last time in their career, Radiohead bucked the trend. When they did finally leave their rehearsal room and start to play live on a regular basis, they quickly attracted interest from a number of British record labels. Phil Selway and bassist Colin Greenwood.
From actually deciding that this was something that we really wanted to actually try and do, trying to get a record out, try and get a record contract, And we were signed very quickly after that, weren't we?
Yeah.
It was a good 4 or 5 months.
Well, the first show was like in July, and then we had signed the basic contract at Christmas time, didn't we, really?
Yeah.
We got first offers in October, so it was pretty quick, really.
I think we were all quite numbed by it as well, that whole process.
It was that mad time, because what happens when you get signed is that people who are interested in you, they've got these other templates at the time. So the two big bands at the time was Metallica with a Black Album and Nirvana. And there were like some bands like Jesus Jones and EMF and stuff. And various people in the record business, they thought that they could have like English bands could have like big hits in America. And the guy in the record company, when he signed us, he thought he was getting a sort of quirky indie band with loud guitars who could rock or whatever, like cross between us, and it's all completely wrong. And it's probably taken us to about now to sort of understand where everyone's coming from, I suppose.
When you were here before, couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world.
Radiohead recorded their debut album Pablo Honey and released 2 singles, the second of which went on to become a massive hit in the States. But this formative part of their career wasn't without its problems.
But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here.
Tom York.
The way that these things pan out, it was extremely stressful because, like any band when they sign, we were incredibly naive and didn't really understand how these things worked, and I didn't understand when I was sort of getting very personal attacks very quickly within the music press. I kind of didn't get it. I mean, I know I've got one of these faces that people want to punch me, but I can't help that. But it was a bit odd, it just took a while to get used to that idea. And then, of course, we were just really, really paranoid of falling into traps or falling into a hole or whatever and never getting out again. And we'd only just started and blah, blah, blah. And then the creep thing happened, and then we were in America and everyone's all over us like a rash. And we're doing the most horrendous press and promotional things that really I don't think there's any point in doing. You shouldn't take pride in having to lick people's asses like that. It should be not necessary.
Creep was the group's second UK release. It brought encouraging reviews in Britain, but it was in America where the track really took off. Perversely, and apparently by accident, Radiohead had made the anthem that EMI had predicted.
I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here.
But to make a genuine impact in the States, bands have to engage in endless rounds of promotion, interviews with press and radio, meet and greets with tastemakers and record company staff. What should have been a dream start to their career in America rapidly turned into an ongoing nightmare. Guitarist Ed O'Brien.
In the earlier stages, when you're a young band, and particularly in America, where we had this song that was a hit, and the only radio hit we've ever had over in America, and we didn't want to go over being like, a lot of British bands at that time and beforehand and since go over with, these Americans. What do they know? They're foolish and they don't know how to speak the language. We were like culturally quite interested because obviously musically, a lot of our heroes come from America. And in doing so, you have to take on, for instance, you have to do things that to a British band seem like you're shaking the hand of the corporate devil. But in America, it's just the way that it is. So what we found ourselves is we never found like the way to sort of judge a thing. So what we did, we threw ourselves into it, which was funny to look back on, but at the time it was deeply, there were things like, I mean, you know, so Spinal Tap, turning up at a signing session in a stretched limo, you know, 10 years ago, a 3-hour journey, frazzled out of New York, and the limos are really not comfortable things to ride in, you know, they're horrible. And you arrive for a signing session on Long Island, and there's no one there except a works leaving do, and the record company guy going, you see him going over there and saying, can you just take these posters and take them to those guys over there and ask them to sign. And, you know, it's funny looking back on it, but at the time it's like, we should never have done that. And that was the problem. It took us a while to sort of adjust to those, but we eventually sort of found a gauge.
Jumps in a week, but you think that's pretty clever, don't you, boy? Flying on your motorcycle, watching all the ground beneath you drop. You kill yourself for recognition, kill yourself to never ever stop. You broke another mirror, you're turning into something you are not. Don't leave me high, don't leave me dry, don't leave me high, don't leave me dry. Conversation, you'll be the one who cannot talk. All your insides fall to pieces, you just sit there wishing you could still make love. They're the ones who hate you when you think you got the world all so stacked. Spit at you, you will be the one screaming out. Don't leave me high, don't leave me dry, don't leave me high, don't leave me dry.
You can almost imagine from talking to him that Tom York felt soiled by his experiences in the States and the need to sell himself and the band to achieve further recognition.
The fallout from that when we were doing the bands was horrendous. We got to the point where we scrapped everything and started again because we were just so messed up. We just didn't understand. I mean, that was only a couple of years later. We just could not work out why we got into this. It just had ceased to make any sense to us. I mean, you're talking about the songwriting, you're writing songs, blah, blah, blah. But we were, but there was no life about it. We just didn't understand why we were doing it. It was really weird. It's like someone had nicked it off us or something. It was weird.
In response to their success in America, Radiohead struggled with their second album, The Bends. But the pressure to make the follow-up brought out some of the character traits that have helped them through their career ever since. If anything, the band became more defiant that they would do things their own way. And almost as a reaction to the fact that Creep had become a big pop hit, they started to push the boundaries of their music. It wouldn't be cynical to say that some groups in their position would have been quite content to copy Creep in the hope that they could repeat its success. Radiohead, whether being overtly obtuse or not, went the other way.
Initially, we were extremely confused. I think a lot of bands get confused very quickly. It's very easy to get confused. If you have a commercial success, it makes it very difficult as well, because there is a lot of pressure on you to obviously repeat yourself. So obviously that was happening a lot during the bands for us. And that was when I was like unplugging all the telephones in the studio and telling the record company and the management and anybody who came near us to f*** off. Because it was either that or this was it, bye-bye.
The Bends proved to be a massively acclaimed album in Britain and gave the band more freedom to experiment. In return, the group re-emerged with an even more progressive album called OK Computer, led by a 6-minute single, Paranoid Android. By now, singer Tom York had exorcised some of his personal demons via his lyrics and was becoming more interested in reflecting the political world around him.
A few years ago, and Drop the Debt thing that just stuck with me when we went to Cologne. And I've talked about this before, but how all these nice old ladies and Quakers and stuff were all there protesting that the G7 or 8. We handed in this petition for millions of signatures to Schroeder at this thing in Cologne, and there was a protest that turned into a riot back in London. But somehow the British press were just writing it up as all these old ladies and all these, nice Quakers were somehow anti-capitalist lunatics, and it was all part of the same coordinated protest, which was just nonsense, And the whole thing was just written up so badly, and everyone was ignoring the fact there was actually millions of people's signatures on this thing. It just sort of stuck with me how utterly powerless people are to really represent what goes on if other people elsewhere see a nicer, more convenient story to be written another way. If they can write off the wishes of millions of people in a split-second editorial decision, which I feel is immoral.
It's often at times of apparent success that bands find themselves at their most confused or disorientated. In fact, popularity does a brilliant job of fueling a group's insecurity. And after 18 months touring and promoting OK Computer, it happened to Radiohead. But the tight-knit friendship which had evolved since school saw them through, although it did lead to accusations of the band acting aloof. Ed O'Brien and Johnny Greenwood.
It was our protection.
Yeah, I think we knew what we were interested in and why we were together, and unfortunately that can come across as excluding everything and everyone else outside, even people that are kind of setting out to help and tell us stuff. You're quite self-involved as a band, I think.
Even Nigel said that, when you first get back, the five of you, we've had our own conflicts with him, but we've always been sort of quite protective, and we were incredibly, I think we just so unsure about things and unsure about the whole thing about how can you balance the two of making music, the thing that you really love and the thing that we did for 6 years in village halls before we were ever signed. But how do you reconcile that with making a record and then selling it, which you have to do in a way? And that was always, first of all, the recordings were always so fraught. And so you'd leave an album and everybody's fried. Then you had to embark upon talking about it, which is so each time anybody saw us, they were like, how are you doing? We're fine, just fine. It was you saw that, everybody saw that. And we just sort of worked it out a bit more. This is the first record that we've made without, at the end of it, really pissed off with each other.
Searching for whatever they thought was missing in their lives or in their music, they regrouped again to make a new album. But this time, Radiohead set about demolishing everything they'd previously created. Choosing ambition, where some of their peers might have opted for musical safety, they started again from scratch.
I walk through walls.
Kid A was completely different to the rest of the top 10 in the year 2000, but that didn't stop it from going to number 1 around the world. Tom York.
The traumatic bit was, in a way, was having to go away and see it from the outside. Like, in a way, we all had to get to the point where Radiohead was this meaningless thing, which we sort of didn't really hold any faith in, or, you know, it was just this thing that we'd been involved in. For me personally, it was like, there wasn't really ever a time throughout the whole thing where I wanted to sort of pack it up, because to me it's sort of like we'd spent so much time together and we understood each other sort of musically, really. So it was like, it didn't make any sense to blow it out. But at the same time, everything that we'd done didn't seem to float my boats anymore.
In a little while, I'll be gone. The moment's already passed. Yeah, it's gone. And I'm not here. This isn't happening. I'm not here. I'm not here. Strawberries and I'm not here. This isn't happening. I'm not here. I'm not
Aside from the fact that their songs move people and inspire and excite their followers, there's an air of surprise and freshness about them. This is essentially the reason Radiohead remains so important. Straight after making 2 studio-based albums, they've returned with a record which was tried and tested on tour. And instead of recording their parts individually, they've rediscovered the spontaneity of playing as a band. Recorded at the end of last year, their latest LP is Hail to the Thief. The album title itself was inspired by a political slogan adopted by American Democrats, incensed by Republican George W. Bush's narrow election victory. The title has already caused controversy in America, where Republican fans of the band have taken it as a direct attack on Bush and the war on Iraq. To the band, however, the title encompasses much, much more. Johnny Greenwood.
I think all our album titles have been an attempt to sum up the mood of the time within which the songs were written, like a Computer and Kid A, and this was another attempt to do the same. And it just feels that power is in a strange place, or it's among strange people that isn't necessarily to do with politics at all. It just feels like it's hard to know who's in control. It sounds like a real paranoid rant, but that's kind of what a lot of the record is about, I think, to me. It's about whether you choose to confront and complain and deal with what's upsetting you around you, or just kind of go home with your family and hide and wait for it to change and wait for everything to be all right. Because both options are really tempting, and I think everybody at the moment is thinking in those terms. They're thinking kind of personally of the people they care about, but they're also thinking, why is this happening in the world? Why does it feel so dark at the moment? Why does everybody feel threatened? So it's kind of a conflict between the two things. This record is about, looking for a way to escape from it and or kind of shouting about it.
Just 'cause you feel doesn't mean it's there.
For a band who sometimes seem so distant and isolated, Radiohead have emerged as a group who reflect and are informed by the world around them. They've managed to take the escapism of rock and roll and infuse it with a sense of reality. That's why, after more than 10 years together, they're still right in tune with the time. this year will once again see the release of a stunning array of new rock albums. But none has been so eagerly awaited as the latest release from a group who've become one of Britain's biggest bands of the past decade. I'm Steve Lamacq, and this week on the Radiohead story, we'll talk to the band about their latest album, Hail to the Thief, and trace the group's recording history, mistakes and all, from their debut release Pablo Honey to the present day. Tom York.
I had essentially a writer's block for 2 years, and all the stuff that was in the writer's block that I didn't actually throw away instantly was put into this top hat. Whenever we were jamming or doing stuff in the studio, I didn't know what to sing, I would pull stuff out of the hat, and it was cool. I used to get some great stuff.
Ed O'Brien.
I think that intuitively, because we're 5 quite different people in the situation, but I think intuitively we come up with immediately, and it's all to do with like what feels right is often the right way for us to do things, but in doing so we get bored of that. So you have to go on these little journeys.
Johnny Greenwood.
I think from Ben's onwards, we were getting confident about what we were doing. And in a weird way, we started to feel like we did before we got signed, which was an era when we were just spending a lot of time together, writing songs and recording them and not playing concerts, but just kind of being into being in a band for the sake of it, really.
Colin Greenwood.
What really excites me about us is the fact that we've got 5 people who are capable of generating interesting sounding material at a time when so much music is coming out of people's bedrooms. So, the fact that we can do that as 5 individuals and then respond to it within that team group thing, and plus using technology to cut things up in that bedroom style, I think that's really exciting.
Phil Selway.
The level of performance that we managed to capture on tape, something that we've not really done before, and that surprises me. And it's a relief as well, actually, because I just don't think we've really done ourselves justice in the past.
Turns to stone. Everything I told, I wrapped up in sugar-coated stone.
For any band, recording their debut album is one of the biggest steps in their career. It marks the point where a group can finally make their manifesto known to the world via their first set of songs. But it can be a frustrating experience too. For Radiohead, recording Pablo Honey was the start of an adventure which would later see them experiment with all manner of recording techniques, studio settings and different ways of writing songs.
When you were here before, couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. You're so fucking special. But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't care if it hurts.
Over 10 years ago, having signed with EMI, the band entered the studio believing they were the best group in the world. It was a belief that was about to be challenged. Guitarist Ed O'Brien.
Pablo Honey sort of took the stuffing out of us for a while. I mean, we weren't happy with the records, and it had been only 3 weeks, but it was pretty fraught making it. It was very insecure making record. I think that we thought that whole thing that we thought we were the best band in the world until we got into the recording studio and you know, it's like a mirror, it's held up to you, and you realise you're not, so how do you do it? And we didn't know how to do it.
I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Oh, whatever makes you happy, whatever you want. You're so fucking special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
Pablo Honey included tracks like Blowout and Stop Whispering, and of course the first hit single, Creep. But Creep's success in America meant the band returned to record their second album, The Bends, under pressure to repeat their achievements to date.
Confess it, but it will not come. You can taste it, but it will not fall.
Telex displayed the group's growing desire to push themselves into unknown territory. Tom York.
It was really fun making that, me and Phil and Colin playing our bits, and then we left Johnny and Ed for a whole day sitting there doing their guitars, and they couldn't work out what they were going to play. They didn't have a clue. So me and John Lucky said, all right, we'll set the tape rolling and you do what you like, but it won't have anything to do with the track. We'll just tell you when to stop. But because of that, all these amazing sounds and accents came out of what they were doing on their guitars with cigarette lighters and bits and pieces, and I really liked that, purely because it was a total accident.
Another key moment on the Bends is the closing track, Street Spirit.
Rows of houses all bearing down on me. I can feel the hands touching me.
Talking in 1995, guitarist Johnny Greenwood.
Both of our albums, the best song has always been the last song, and it's just sort of the way it builds up and the tension that builds up is very exciting. Makes me want to grip the table, and it's very madrigal-like. It's beautiful.
This machine will not communicate these thoughts, and the strain
All these things I one day swallow.
The studio sessions were a bizarre mixture of joy and despair. People started questioning whether the group were descending into madness.
Can't get the stink out. He's been hanging around for days.
Talking in 1995, Tom York.
Madness isn't really the right word. The word was sort of just acute paranoia. You know, it could have gone either way. We could have walked out the studio and given up there and then, but then things started happening. The next album will be a lot less considered.
You do it to yourself, you do. And that's why it really hurts. You do it to yourself, just you. You and no one else. You do it to yourself. You do it to yourself. Don't get my sympathy hanging at the 15th floor. Change like sweet
Unlike some of their peers, Radiohead have an uncanny knack of turning negative energy into something positive, even when the band members are pulling in different directions. This musical sabotage has lingered throughout their career and is present again on their new album. Tom York.
Sabotage, I think, is very important in the way that we operate, because I think we're unhealthily paranoid about complacency to the point where it's just silly. I'm delving into complacency on this record anyway, simply by just sort of saying we're going to let this happen now. I'm not going to sabotage absolutely every moment of every single day like normal, which I think went down quite well with the others, funnily enough. But I think it just happens anyway. I think that part of the creative thing for us really is that if something has worked in the past, we can 100% guarantee without fear of contradiction ever that it'll never work again. So don't even go there. And if you do go there, it's purely by accident. So that's all right then.
I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll. This time I feel my luck could change. Kill me, Sarah. Kill me again. 'Cause love is gonna be a glorious day. Pull me out of the air crash. Pull me out of the lake. 'Cause I'm your sailor. We're standing on the
Before they made their next album, Radiohead recorded a track for a charity project called War Child. Radiohead's contribution, Lucky, proved to be a turning point in their recording career. It also confirmed their relationship with the engineer who became an integral part of their story, Ed O'Brien and Johnny Greenwood.
I think from Ben's onwards, we were getting confident about what we were doing. And in a weird way, we started to feel like we did before we got signed, which was an era when we were just spending a lot of time together, writing songs and recording them and not playing concerts, but just kind of being into being in a band for the sake of it, really. And, the Ben's was that kind of feeling put on record, and then Lucky was the next step up. It was realising that we were a band together, but then we could do other things, and music is it's a broad church, and that kind of led to a computer, and that was the bridge between the two in a way, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was the first time that we were let loose with Nigel, and that was the whole sense of boys doing it together.
Buoyed by this confidence, and having found Godrich, their new soulmate producer, Radiohead's third album would take them to a new level entirely. They were already out of step with the traditional sound of Britpop, which was big in the UK charts at the time. But OK Computer was a challenging collection of songs recorded under an entirely new set of rules.
Our whole thing was that we wanted to buy a whole studio that you could put into boxes and wheel anywhere. Sort of like the Stones mobile, you know, in the 70s. So we did that, and we wanted to use Nigel Godrich, who was one of the engineers on the Bends. We didn't want to use John Leckie because we sort of wanted it all to like start from the same point. And also, we had absolutely sort of no deadline or time limit. We said to everyone, okay, we want to buy our own studio. And they're going, oh, okay. We don't want a producer. Okay. And we want no time limit. Okay. And it was odd because obviously when those things were agreed, it was like complete freedom. So the only structure was the panic inherent in complete freedom.
Tom York speaking in 1997. The bands have often said that their records reflect the atmosphere of the places they're recorded in. To add an extra dimension to OK Computer, they took their mobile studio around farms, libraries, old houses, in fact, anywhere that might affect the mood of the songs. Speaking in 1997, here's Tom York.
Every song on this record really, really sounds like the environment that it was recorded in. I mean, really frighteningly so. I mean, Karma Police, Climbing Up the Walls, Exit Music, they all sound like the first week that we were in this house. I suppose it's for us, obviously, but I think the people that, friends of ours that came and stayed with us and stuff and came away, said the same thing, that it was almost eerie, the level of atmosphere that was left on tape, and it really just became part of what was happening and the overall feeling of the album.
The band would record a song, and if it didn't work, they'd record it again, and again, and again, until finally they got it right, or simply went back to where they started. Ed O'Brien, talking in 1997.
That was the very first take of the very first bit of recording we did for the album. And stupidly, we spent another 6 months doing about another 20 versions of the song. I mean, that's typical of the way that we work, you know. And it was 6 months almost to the day that Nigel or someone said, let's listen to the first take from the Fruit Farm where we did this initial bit of recording. And we listened to it and went, why did we do all those versions? And we really sweated over this song because we knew it was there's something very special about it. And we spent hours fretting about, it's not going to work. And you go back to the first take and it's there.
For OK Computer, Radiohead appeared to have a vision of what they wanted to achieve. Each album to date has seen a progression of their sound, but where could they go next? One clue was that every Radiohead album has been made, at least in part, as a reaction to the previous one. If one album has been written on tour, the next one is written in the studio. If one sounds live, the next one sounds more mechanical. None of this wisdom, however, seemed to have sunk in with the band. As they looked ahead to their next record, they were searching for new inspiration. From an interview in 2000, Ed O'Brien and Tom York.
I'd say this is the first time we didn't know what the hell we were doing. And I think that lasted for a good year and a half.
Yeah. I mean, Everything in Its Right Place was the first track that, as you said, that was finished, and it was like, yes, this makes sense. And that was 6 months in to, that was of June of last year, and we went into the studio in Paris in January last year.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we did.
And so that's a lot of tape under.
It was an awful lot of tape. There was an awful lot of tape we need to recycle.
The new album, Kid A, was like a huge scientific experiment.
I slipped on a little one ride.
The group would play for hours, mixing sounds and musical potions, and then cataloguing the results. It was a painstaking process.
I had this thing about it actually at the time, which in retrospect was pretty daft, where I kept talking about how it was like, you know, having a bunch of kids and sending some of them off to the war and some of them not, sort of thing. I thought I sounded really daft, and probably to everybody else it did sound really precious or whatever, but then it's interesting because Björk says the same thing about her stuff actually. She's really like, oh, all my songs, I have to fight for my songs, you know, which I think is really cool. And that's basically what personally my freak out was about.
Not only this, but Tom encouraged the rest of the band to switch instruments or try out new ones. It wasn't so much going back to their early days in Oxford as going back to forming the band all over again. From 2000, Tom York.
As soon as you start getting into computers and chopping and sampling and so on, the issue of who's playing what becomes a little bit irrelevant anyway, because you're starting to use the studio and you're starting to use different methods. I mean, I think that was a fairly easy thing to sort out. I think the difficult thing was then trying to work out what to do instead, and everybody sort of be involved, because basically sitting there in front of your laptop all day waiting for something to happen isn't exactly the most rewarding musical experience. They got in the way for weeks.
We're trying to get them
I'm
to
not
work.
Exaggerating. You know, even getting them to talk to each other, it was just daft, absolutely daft. You know, but at the same time, I think we definitely all subscribe to the thing now where you don't have to be playing electric guitar, bass and drums in order for it to have soul. So that was good. That was a step forward, I think.
Bassist Colin Greenwood.
I think that's very true, and I think that was one of the scary but the ultimately liberating experiences of doing this record, was to sort of not feel that you're shackled to some role of contribution within Radiohead, and, you know, not sacrificing your own individual thing, but also just, it's like passing the baton on, really, and it happens a lot more, and then just continue to do so. You know, what really excites me about us is the fact that we've got 5 people who are capable of generating interesting sounding material at a time when so much music is coming out of people's bedrooms. So, you know, the fact that we can do that as 5 individuals and then respond to it within that team group thing, and plus using technology to cut things up in that bedroom style, I think that's really exciting.
In keeping with the almost random way the record was being made, Tom was piecing together the lyrics from old notebooks.
I had essentially a writer's block for 2 years, and all the stuff that was in the writer's block that I didn't actually throw away instantly was put into this top hat. Whenever we were jamming or doing stuff in the studio, I didn't know what to sing, I would pull stuff out of the hat. And it was cool. I used to get some great stuff.
Not surprisingly, the amount of material they produced during the Kid A sessions meant they couldn't fit all the new songs on one album. In response, they picked up the pieces of Kid A, which they hadn't used, and within a year released Amnesiac.
Jumped into
Amnesiac included some terrific songs in its own right, from Pyramid Song to Knives Out. The new album, Hail to the Thief, is yet more evidence that Radiohead records are snapshots of a certain time and place. Ed O'Brien.
Every record that we make, we could not have made it the previous year or the year after. The thing about, for better or worse about us as a band is that, emotionally we're pretty honest. You can tell with us, when you hear our records, you can actually tell where our emotional, mental and spiritual, what state they're all in. Leckie taught us that. John Leckie taught us that on the Bends, and he said, an album should be just literally a sort of an aural snapshot of a band at a given time. And it's totally true. Now, like on Kid A and Amnesia, that was expanded over basically a year and a bit, but the whole state of the band did not change within that year. So, it's totally of its time, and we won't make another record like this, that's for sure. And we know that every time we make a record. The thing about making a record is it's not just what songs that you're presented. There's so many infinite permutations of how a record can, this record wouldn't have sounded like this if we decided to record it in Berlin in Hans Aton Studios for 6 weeks. It wouldn't be as warm as that. It reflects the fact that it was started in LA, the sun was shining in September, we were in that studio for 2 weeks. It's all these little things, it's the character, it's the kind of the makeup of each record.
Like previous records, it touches on the politics and humanitarian issues of the period during which it was made. But it was recorded more quickly, and it saw the band playing live again in the studio as a unit. Tom Yorke.
We were very much into getting the sound of people in a room on this record, the sounds of things off mic and all that sort of stuff, and just a kind of, in a weird way, kind of celebration of going back out on the road with Kid A and Amnesiac, which were such incredibly seriously studio records, and then learning to play them live and getting something off that and just wanting to bring that back in the studio. And it was very much, there was very little analysis or mandate or, we're going to do this and this is how it's going to be. When we went into the studio, we'd played a lot of these songs live, ready to go in, and everything. We'd gone out on tour and everything was geared towards these sessions.
Phil Selway.
I suppose we'd gone into this record with more of an idea than we went into Kid A with. And, I think for anybody listening to the record who's seen us over the past couple of years playing live, I think we're very recognisable as that band. But I think actually the level of performance that we managed to capture on tape is something that we've not really done before, and that surprises me. And it's, it's a relief as well, actually. So I just don't think we've really done ourselves justice in the past.
They recorded a track a day in sessions in Los Angeles. And unlike the Kid A era, they'd finally learned that there were times when they shouldn't be in a studio at all. Tom Yorke again.
Oh yeah, again, that was a lesson from the last two records, really. There was months where we simply should not have been there. The first 3 months we shouldn't have been anywhere near a tape recorder. And then most of the time after that. Whereas this was like, well, we got limited time and blah, 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 I'm just going to bash it out. I mean, if you get tired, whether you're a writer or whatever you are, if you're tired and you're trying to do something creative, you forget it. There's no point bashing your head against the wall, really. If you want your music to sound like it has energy, then you have to actually have some energy when you're doing it.
One of the tracks, There, is the closest Tom Yorke has ever got to recording a song the way he heard it in his head.
It made me cry when we finished it, actually. I blubbered my eyes out. Don't know why. I went to LA and Nigel played me the mix and just made me cry. I was in tears for ages. I just thought it was the best thing he'd ever done. There's something about it. I love what he did with the guitar sound and the way he mixed it and just the way it's really jubilant to me, that song, in a funny way. And also it happened to be, at one time it was a song I thought we were going to lose, which I was really upset about because the melody stayed with me for about 4 months without going away, which was, for me, is really unusual. It doesn't take me long to get bored, and I really never got bored of this song.
If anything, this album sounds like a band who've rediscovered what they enjoy about making music. Ed O'Brien.
I think that intuitively, because we're 5 quite different people in the situation, but I think intuitively we come up with immediately, and it's all to do with like what feels right, is often the right way for us to do things. But in doing so, we get bored of that. So you have to go on these little journeys, and they're really important for the band staying excited about what they do, because, we still do, and that's the most important thing, to be still excited. But equally, at the same time, when you've embarked upon, some journey that you're 6 months down the line in the studio in Copenhagen or whatever, and you haven't seen daylight for 14 days. You're like going, why are we doing this to ourselves? Do we have to? But it's why we don't sound the same. It's why we're still enthusiastic, and it's why there's a lot of energy still. You hear it on this record.
Live shows are where modern rock groups truly reveal themselves. These concerts or gigs are the places where music fans go to satiate their desire to get closer to the groups they love.
Let's have some fun now.
Whether they want to be moved, entertained or challenged, seeing a band live is still a special part of the relationship we have with our favourite artists. This week on the Radiohead story, I'll be following the band's career from tiny support shows to massive gigs around the world, where they've become known as one of their generation's greatest live bands. We'll also learn how being on tour has helped shape the group's attitude towards the music they create.
You can force it, but it will not come. You can force it, but it will not fall. You can crush it, but it's always here. You can crush it, but it's always here. Crush it, but it's not stone. Crush it, it's dry to bone. You can fuck it home straight from school. You can kiss it, you can break it wrong.
Radiohead began forging their live career around their home city of Oxford, before moving on to tour the UK, sometimes opening for other acts. I saw them supporting a now forgotten band called Kingmaker at various small venues around the UK in 1992.
Inside my head. What do you want from me? Now you got me. Now my fingers bleed. Now they stare at me. I'm holding on to your life. Now you tie me up to your foot of bed, and I twist and turn in a Chinese bed. You wanna go? You wanna go? You're inside my head. Inside my head. What do you want from me? Now you got me. Now my energy, you suck from me, and I'm clinging on for dear life. Quit smothering me, quit laughing at me. I got a disease, an English disease. I wanna go, I wanna go. It's inside my head, inside my syringe, whatever you really said to him is sitting there inside of me. But you bother me, you possess me, you're there again, ahead of me, and I wanna go, I wanna go. You're inside my head, inside my
To cut hotel costs, the band would drive back to Oxford most nights in their tiny van. Although I can remember 3 of the group staying up late one night at a hotel, sharing a meagre 2 bottles of red wine. Drummer Phil Selway and bassist Colin Greenwood.
It was one of the few nights where we weren't going home to Oxford and we could afford staying at the hotel, and we stayed up quite late. I remember drinking some red wine with you and Miles from Kingmaker.
Now, this led on to something else. You were telling me that you have a wine society on the road?
We do. I mean, really, it's just an excuse when we're in Europe to go to the nearest French garage and pick up like a £1 bottle of Plonk and then go, ooh, it's got a really buttery nose or something about it. But
unfortunately, Colin's actually been kicked out of a society.
Yes, I have.
He's no longer a member.
So destroyed, clever toys for little boys. It's inevitable, it's so destroyed. You're free till you try. You're free till had enough, and you don't understand. No ripcords, no ripcords, no ripcords, no ripcords.
The need to be frugal, however, changed as Creep, their second single, turned into a huge hit in the States, and then, after it was reissued, a top 10 single in Britain.
This next song could have been a really, really big hit. It was. Just didn't get in the charts, that's all. Thank you very much. This is a song called Creep.
The single's popularity, however, did have a downside. In America, where it had taken the band to a pop audience, the song soon became a millstone round the group's neck. Faced with a set of more challenging songs, most American punters simply wanted to hear Creep again and again. Radiohead's guitarists Ed O'Brien and Johnny Greenwood.
The thing is, when you do get like a pop hit in America, there is a certain type of person who comes along to the show, and it's a terrible generalisation, but it's true. You know, when we used to play Creep on that first tour, I remember we first gig ever in America, Boston, we played Creep, fourth in the set, 25% of the people walked out. So they got their fill.
And we stopped them and asked them, why are you leaving? And they said, well, we do this at all the gigs. We saw Nirvana last week and we just go after Smells Like Teen Spirit. Because that's the one that was on MTV and that's the one we know. We don't go to gigs normally. It's very weird.
You're so fucking special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I turning? I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
There was also a change in their approach to gigging in time for their second album, The Bends.
fall asleep beside the window pane. My brother thinking. And he tortures himself again to hide all the debt and pain, 'cause I'd be scared that there's nothing underneath. And who are my real friends? Have they all got the pins? I'm really sinking this. Baby's got the pins. Oh no. We don't have any real friends. No, no, no. Oh, we're just lying about with 100 feet on, talking to my girlfriend and waiting for something to happen. I wish it was the 60s, I wish we could be happy. I wish that something would happen. Where do we go from here? The planet is a gumbo, and I see a fear. Brought in the CIA, the tanks in a overreach to blow me away, to blow me sky. But my baby's got the pain. We don't have any real friends. We're just lying about the defeat on, talking to my girlfriend, waiting for something to happen. I wish it was the 60s, I wish we could be happy. I wish that something would. Someone live, breathe. I wanna be part of the human race. Someone live, breathe. I wanna be part of the human race. Race. Where do we go from here? The words are coming out our weird. Where are you now? When I need you.
Ed O'Brien.
We had problems after the first album with Pablo Honey because, like, obviously Creep was a big single there, and it meant that we weren't the band people knew us because of the name. We were essentially a pop act, which we hadn't been anywhere else.
Hair.
And so when we went back to America for the Bends, it was like, right, we're having to start again because a lot of these people, unless we're going to play Creep 10 times in the set, people aren't going to come and see us. So we started right back at the clubs and did exactly what we did in the UK and we've done in Europe in like 92, and just toured, played smaller places. And we did like 5 tours of America, and gradually, you know, the following got bigger and bigger. But it's just harder because America's bigger.
Tom York.
The amazing thing about going back out on the bends was it was just like wiping the whole thing out and starting from scratch. It was really ace. It was hard work, but it just felt ace to do it.
Destiny
Apart from the thrill of trying to rebuild their image in America on their own terms, many of Radiohead's long jaunts took their toll on the group, or at least on their singer, Tom Yorke.
To be perfectly honest, I prefer recording and writing than I do touring, because touring is a real physical thing for me, and I really love it. But if I'm ill, it's a nightmare, because if I can't get into the studio, or if I can't get in front of a tape machine and write stuff, then, you know, I'm going to be frustrated.
New song about the old song.
Their festival appearances were another matter entirely. The luxury of a big stage and a big sound suited Radiohead's more ambitious moments. It's probably no coincidence either that a band who thrive on a challenge grew to push themselves at high-profile events like the Glastonbury Festival. Glastonbury, with its ecological and political undertones, was always going to be their British festival of choice. Boosted by critical acclaim for the Bends, they first played there in 1994, as the Britpop movement was starting to take shape. Phil and Colin.
We played in 94, and I think we were on the Enemies stage. We were between Oasis and Blur.
Britpop, it was.
It was a bit of a line. It was Oasis, Blur, us, and Pulp as well.
Let us take you back there in time. What a lineup! It was like the Championship League, wasn't it? Brilliant.
But, you know, I mean, that felt quite significant for us.
What were we doing there?
Well, exactly.
Surrounded by such luminaries, Radiohead reacted tremendously. They brought a different level of intensity to the day. Tom virtually spitting out the words to My Iron Lung and their new album's title track.
And if you're frightened, you can be frightened, you can be it's okay. And if you're frightened, you can be frightened, you can be it's okay.
For some bands, touring is a perfect opportunity to let go, to behave as wildly and as extravagantly as possible. Radiohead, though, have a conscientious mindset when it comes to touring. Ed O'Brien,
This is the thing about the rock and roll lifestyle, that a lot of the bands that we've toured with, we always thought that, this kind of whole thing about drinking loads and just going out and partying all night. But every band that we've toured with has never done that. And we certainly don't do that. I mean, the important thing for us is, we have a laugh and we have a few drinks or whatever. But the most important thing, especially out on the road, is the show the next night and putting on the best show that you possibly can. So the rock and roll mythology, it's probably escaped us. It's probably passed us by.
With OK Computer, their third album, confirmed as both a critical and commercial success, Radiohead returned to Glastonbury in 1997. For many, it's still one of their best ever live performances. Mind you, it wasn't easy. Phil Selway and Colin Greenwood.
97 felt very much as though we had a strong spotlight on us at the time.
Yeah.
I think, OK Computer had just been released and it was being received very well. And, we suddenly went from standing to actually being up to some kind of enforced speed in a very short space of time. We started touring, and like some of the first shows that were happening, we played this show in Dublin, the RDS ground, to 40,000 people, which inevitably had its stresses. And then the weekend after to be playing in Glastonbury. It was an incredible experience doing that, and quite aside from any technical problems we had, I think it was, at that point, it was quite a defining moment for us. There was an intensity about the performance there, which
it took us 2 records to get over, basically.
Yeah,
I would say.
Definitely, it really coloured the touring for the rest of the year.
Screwed it all up.
But it was the wrong way around. That should have come in some ways at the end of the touring.
It's like getting some massive hit off a drug, and then over like 24 hours, and then having like a 2-month come down afterwards of touring other places, and it's like, but you've just had this massive hit right at the beginning when it should have culminated in it, really.
It's called Paranoid Android. Please could you stop the noise? I'm trying to get somewhere.
It's like, everyone's band's dream of like closing Saturday night at Glastonbury. You've got these campfires and this sort of millennial sort of celebrations and stuff. Everyone wanted to do it. It's the culmination of it's the ultimate thing, and if you're in a band. And then everything sort of broke on stage, basically, and it turned into like the worst concert and the worst night of our career in a way, in terms of like things going wrong. And Phil basically held it together, and then Tom coped really well, amazingly with it. So it was just awful. I don't think we ever wanted to like play a concert again.
When I am king, you will be first against the world.
Ed O'Brien.
That Glastonbury show in 97 was a defining moment because it was like our sort of crowning glory on that whole OK Computer thing. Everything, the pressure of OK Computer and Glastonbury, but the flip side of it, it was amazing. It was amazing in one way. It was a nightmare for us as a gig because things went wrong, but the flip side was that for about 6 months afterwards, the shows just all suffered because it's kind of like, whether it was a drain on emotion that Glastonbury, because we were so built up to it. It was such an event in our lives. And afterwards, it was very hard we were just exhausted, really, I think, emotionally.
children. Gotta love since children.
After the difficult tour which followed OK Computer and Glastonbury 97, Radiohead responded by making the more studio-based follow-up Kid A. It was almost as if, having conquered the highs of Glastonbury, they now needed to reconstruct themselves. Kid A was a spectacular and unconventional rock record. But when they made the album in the studio, the 5 band members recorded most of their parts individually. So playing the songs live would present an enormous challenge. Phil Selway, talking in 2000.
Probably fair to say, actually, when we were recording, I don't think we even knew if we were going to go out and play live again. When we actually came to sit down and think, yes, we want to go out and play dates, but, we did have to adapt what's on the record. But I think the versions which we're playing live now are equally as valid. And I mean, with OK Computer and the Bends, and what you heard when you came to see us live, I think we're more or less like Xerox copies of what was on the record. And it's actually exciting to actually have that kind of flexibility in what you're playing now. It had to be completely different for us if we were actually going to go out and do it again. We sat down and talked a lot about how we would want touring to be for us. I think we'd become a bit jaded during the whole OK Computer tour of the way it was going. We were playing in bigger arenas, and for us at the time we just didn't make the connections that we wanted to. So I think we went into it knowing that we wanted the tour schedule to be rather more relaxed, so we would actually get time to spend in the places that we were visiting. We wanted to play in what we would consider to be interesting venues, something that actually the venue itself added something to the atmosphere of the show, rather than just turning up in this big warehouse somewhere and then just trying to fill it with some kind of otherworldliness about it or whatever. We played in beautiful amphitheatres, and
It's brilliant.
so we changed the pace of it, we changed the location of it, if you like, and I think that definitely fed back into the way we felt about touring. It fed back into our performances. It all had a pulse again about it. It was a living experience for us rather than actually just carrying on and being...
And you provided that pulse, didn't you, Phil?
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Yes.
Everything
Guitarist Johnny Greenwood set about trying to incorporate the samplers and keyboards which they'd employed during the making of the album into the live set. The result saw him sampling and looping Tom's vocals live on stage.
It's sort of, singing by proxy, because I'm sort of stealing bits of Tom's singing and playing them back, out of time. And out of tune even as well, just how I would. And that's really good. Obviously it's again all a bit up in the air every time we play it. Sometimes it goes very wrong, sometimes I get overexcited and wipe what the computer's holding, so there's nothing in there anymore, and have to kind of push Tom back towards a microphone, so I've got something still to use.
Having successfully turned Kid A into an enthralling and sometimes demanding live show, when it came to making their next album, Hail to the Thief, they decided to change their agenda again. Instead of making a record and then working out how to play it live, they decided to road test their new songs at a series of gigs in Spain and Portugal. Phil and Colin.
The fact that we have, for the past couple of years, have just really enjoyed touring.
Yeah, it's reflected on the record, yeah.
And, you know, everything about touring has been set up now for us so that we do concentrate on those aspects of touring which I think can nurture us in a way, don't they?
No, you're right.
So that's definitely reflected in this record.
I think what's happened is we've all sort of agreed we don't want to carry on unless we enjoy what we do, because life's too short, really. So I think we all sort of drew a line in the sand about a couple of years ago, and everything has come from that, really.
Rows of houses all burn down on me. I can feel it. Blue hands touching me. All these things take position. All these things are oneness. Fade out again. Fade out. This machine will not communicate these thoughts and the strain I am under. The world shine for the sake for we all go under.
This year, the band are back headlining at the Glastonbury Festival. By then, their latest album will have been to #1. It all points to another significant set in the life of a group who always pull the stops out live.
Thank you very, very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
So much can happen in a decade. When it comes to rock music, thousands of bands must have formed and split in the past 10 years. Even the ones who are still together will have changed, both as musicians and as people. In the final part of the Radiohead story, we look back over the past 10 years of the band's career and find out what's motivated them, what have been their proudest moments, and how they see their future.
This is what you'll get when you mess with us. This is what you'll get when you mess with us.
The distance Radiohead have travelled in the past decade is astonishing. At the start of 1993, the group, by their own admission, were just another indie band who couldn't even play that well. 10 years on, they are one of the most respected rock bands in the world. I'm not sure even they know how they managed to reach this enviable position. After all, the group is made up of 5 very different characters who've matured and grown up in different ways since they first bonded as friends at school.
Can't get the stink off. He's been hanging around for days. Comes like a comet, suck at you but not your friends. And then he'll get to you and teach you how to be a holy cow. You do it to yourself, you do. And that's why Radiohead says you do it to yourself, just you. You and no one else, you do it to yourself. You do it to yourself. Don't get my sympathy hanging at the 15th floor. Change like 3 times, I still come reeling through the door. One day I'll get to you and teach you how to get to purest. Hell, you do it to yourself, you do. And that's why Radiohead says you do it to yourself, just you. You and no one else, you do it to yourself. Do it to yourself.
The common thread seems to be their desire to create albums that are stimulating, sometimes daring, and if nothing else, made up of songs which interest the band themselves. Whether it was their debut album, Pablo Honey, its follow-up, The Bends, or the groundbreaking third record, OK Computer. Here's frontman Tom York and guitarist Ed O'Brien talking in 1997.
The dust is still settling, you know, so it's like proud of it, but it's all just complete chaos, you know, just doing all the electioneering at the moment.
I think one of the important things is like we never wanted to be kind of like pigeonholed as a band, and I think what this album does means that we can go off in different directions, and you know, and people won't be amazed, you know. I think that because the ground is so, it's there for the taking.
Guitarist Johnny Greenwood.
You know, there was this opinion that we were all set up to do the big third album crossover, you know, to people who've never heard of us, but it sort of feels like we've only done an album that people who like the Bends will like in a way. I can't imagine. Well, maybe, who knows, but that's all we aim to do, really, I think.
OK Computer wasn't a standard rock LP, but it was a defining moment in the band's life. Some people even accused them of making a deliberately difficult record, but the truth is, it was the sound of a band discovering their potential. Tom York from 1997 again.
You could just make it so much more obtuse than it is if that was the case. I think it was basically we had a sound in our heads and we had to get it out, and it was sort of obtuse but not really. It was particular things that we had to create, and a lot of, not really obtuse, but like the Bends, for example, was essentially a lot of very neat songs that were sort of entities in their own right and luckily went together. Whereas this was much more of a sort of sprawling bits here and there, because that's what we needed to do. I know it sounds that wet, but it's like, you know, and if people think we're being obtuse and stuff, I suppose it's possible. If that was true, I suppose it's a form of self-defense against, you know, we were playing with the idea of what people would expect, but not in a negative way. It could have been much worse. But I think there's a lot of humour on this record, really. Quite black, but it's quite a funny record for me. A lot of it makes me smile, which can't be really the case of previous records that we've done.
Wake from your sleep, the drying of your tears. Today we escape, we escape. Pack and get dressed before your father hears us, before all hell breaks loose.
Drummer Phil Selway and Ed O'Brien describe a liberating time where they laid the foundations for future albums.
It wasn't a conscious decision to actually just, destroy anything that we'd done before, but it's like just part of a natural process, really. I mean, we were 2 years on from having recorded that album, so we'd come on as musicians with more sounds and everything that interested us. I think once we were actually immersed in the album itself, it really took on a life of its own. It kind of led us at points, really, didn't it?
I think the difference was that between the Bends and this one was that when we put down the basic tracks, we had a lot more time, and because it was the five of us plus Nigel Godrich, who we worked with a lot before, there was a kind of more of a relaxed thing, and every track that made it to the album was the best take of that song that we possibly could. We did this thing, we kind of amazed ourselves, because we were one of these bands who started off at school learning our instruments, and it had taken us literally 12 years to really be able to play together as a band. I know it sounds stupid, but the fact is that we were an indie band 6 years ago because we couldn't play our instruments that well, or as a unit we didn't gel that well, and suddenly we get these rare flashes of objectivity and think, hang on a sec, this is really good. But in equal measure, once the album was finished, we had 8 weeks of trepidation and being absolutely worried that people wouldn't get the album.
Confidence plays a big part in any band's makeup. The pressure to sell records and the constant dissection of a group's work by critics can leave some bands feeling insecure or inadequate. For Radiohead, however, OK Computer was a watershed when it came to dealing with outside forces. It gave them the self-belief to progress in a direction which felt natural to them. Not only this, but by the time they came to make the follow-up, Kid A, they could play to their individual strengths.
Morning
Ed O'Brien.
Tom has always had this ability to pick up an acoustic guitar and play a song, and he's got that ability to make you, if he really wants to put out all the plugs, he'll bloody make you weep, you know. And that's an incredibly powerful thing, you know. I mean, we're protective of one another, I think. And the thing about Radiohead now that I think is to see everyone being able to do kind of what they want to do, and this record has really meant that we can do that.
It isn't just the way Radiohead write and record, however, that sets them apart from some of their peers. It's their whole attitude to the way the music industry works. For example, most bands in Britain release singles to promote their albums. Back in 2000, Radiohead simply decided they didn't want to play this game for a while. Tom and Ed.
I think by that stage we'd made enough decisions. It just doesn't seem right. I mean, for a start, we don't listen to the singles charts, and when you do get a feel for it, it's kind of like it's week 12, and you turn on the radio or whatever, and it goes, it's week 12 of the new year. This is 11th number one of the year that's gone straight in at number one. It's just...
We don't care. That's right. We don't care.
No, and
it's completely arse, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, it is. It is arse. It's about budgets. It's about, getting your thing straight in at number one, and that's it. We're actually afforded the luxury at this stage of it's not completely essential. We're not struggling for people to hear the record when it's released.
4 months from now, when it bums really badly,
exactly,
we'll expect to hear a single.
Another interesting facet of Radiohead is they've always known or understood what can go wrong in a band's life. Colin Greenwood and Tom York.
We're in Paris, went to see a Beck play, his concert in Paris, and he was saying like the more he has success as an artist, the further he becomes removed from his artistic means of production, like being in the studio and writing songs, and he spends 18 months, 2.5 years touring around the world, on it. So it's like the more recognition you have, the sort of further away it gets removed from what you started it in the first place.
Which is why there was so much stress. It wasn't even in making a record, it was about us getting together, building a studio, making a space that we could work in and carry on and deal with all this stuff as peripheral. But basically, the happiest we are is when something's done. Like, when we finished Idioteque, everybody was like, where did that come from? But the prospect of 12 months down the line, still having that next to an advert, on your TV is just, I'm sorry. We have to find a new approach. Screw these people.
Who's in a bunker? Who's in a bunker? Women and children first, and the children first, and the children. I laugh until my head comes off. I swallow till I burst, until I burst, until I. Who's in a bunker? Who's in a bunker? I've seen too much, you haven't seen it all, you haven't seen it. I laugh until my head comes off. Women and children first, and children first, and children. Everything all of the time. Everything all the time. I say it's coming, I say it's coming. Let me hear both sides, let me hear both sides, let me hear both. I say it's coming, I say it's coming. Throw it in the fire, throw it in the fire, throw it on. We're not scared, mongering. This is really happening, happening. We're not scared, mongering. This is really happening, happening. Nobody's working, nobody's chirping. Take the money, run, take the money, run, take the money. Everything all of the time. Everything all of the time. Everything all of the
It's not always outside pressures, of course, which can tear bands apart. How many times have you heard stories of major rock bands splitting up simply because they can't stand the sight of each other anymore? Sometimes it's the chemistry of a group, the way they react and deal with each other, which seals their fate. Phil and Colin.
The one thing I'm happiest about is we've been working together for like 14, 15 years and 5 blokes working together. My brother as well. There he is, waving like, And the fact that, everyone gets on each other's tits, and then after that period of time you see why you get on other people's tits and you can laugh about it and see what a plonker you are and stuff. And that's like a very rare sort of thing for a group of people working together to get to that sort of level, really.
After Kid A became a hit around the world, not only did the band grow in confidence, they started to look at what they'd managed to achieve thus far. In the precarious world of pop music, they were counting their blessings. Ed O'Brien, Tom York and Colin Greenwood.
I think it just feels, for the first time, that it feels that there is really a way we can carry on being like this. It's amazing doing what we do at the moment and actually appreciating it, whereas I think 3 years ago we probably didn't realise how lucky we are, and just not taking for granted now what we do have.
It's cool because it's like one of the things I've really enjoyed is like looking at all the things you hate doing when we were finishing OK Computer with like touring and stuff and videos, and saying what you didn't like, what didn't work and stuff, when you're so brought up to sort of follow it along. It's really good to like, the sort of negative energy of it's like really as important as feeling you have to do all the right things.
I'd say that we started again. I think people listening to this programme probably think we're just a bunch of, jubilant fools, but actually what we're trying to tell you is we sort of had quite a lot of trouble sorting things out, but ultimately the way that we feel now is sort of that we're really lucky, and we feel like we started again, and we feel like that the reason that we do this job that we do is because everybody benefits, nobody loses, and all the negative energies you work through and you get through them and you work them into something positive, and that's what we're about.
Be constructive.
lost love. You never goes and you never stay. When all we're closed in all different worlds, living in times where I could let it be. Dollars and cents.
When singer Tom talks about the difficulties they've had over the years, he's not wrong. York himself has fallen out with the press, gone through periods of writer's block, and had to deal with sometimes unfair criticism. And let's be honest, everyone has days when they doubt themselves. When this starts happening to a band, it leads to talk of splitting up. Ed, Tom and Colin.
Ever since we've been a signed band, there's always been that whole thing of nearly splitting up. Yeah. And whatever it is, momentum, inertia, or whatever you're in the studio, just we see it through really. And I think it's a good thing that we have that edge to almost breaking up, because it means that you don't carry on doing it for the wrong reasons. You don't do it for a lifestyle, you don't do it, you do it because either the music's not happening or, you know, it's not working out between the five of you.
I do it for my lifestyle.
Well, we had all this studio time booked, and if we cancelled it, we'd been liable to 50% of it, so we just had to go, frankly. Sorry.
Tom may joke about the lifestyle, but he sees how it can ruin people's creativity.
I guess for us, we wouldn't let ourselves in for that. each time if we felt that the motivation for it was suspect, which it can often be. The thing like I'm obsessed by, for example, is that you can easily, whatever life you've got can overtake what you're doing with your music or your lifestyle or your this addiction or that addiction or what you choose to do with the rest of your time or whatever, and that feeds back into the music and the music just becomes a prop. Like that happens a lot, I think, to people if they make money out of music for, you know, obviously then they sort of go and buy it and then they gotta like pay the bills. And then they sort of go into the studio because like they need to pay the bills or whatever. So that worries me. Obviously it would worry me because then your motivation for coming to the studio is a bit like, well, why are you here? You're here because you want to pay your big fat mortgage or because you still enjoy playing your instrument or whatever.
I'm feeling happy, so highly evolved. My time's a riddle that will never be solved. Dreaming for something, reaching for something, just waiting for the sun to carry me.
Tom Yorke has even started giving advice to hotly tipped new bands. Australian group The Vines, whose singer Craig Nicholls has been compared to Nirvana's Kurt Cobain, just like Tom was in the early 90s, are among the groups he's bumped into.
I met The Vines a while ago and I didn't meet the singer because obviously he was stressed out in a hotel room somewhere, strangely enough, and I think they just signed to Capitol or whatever and they were like da-da-da-da-da. And I went into this sort of long tirade because they were saying how their singer was having trouble, you know, he wanted to go back to Australia, they'd all been told that they had to move to LA, and I was like, well, it depends on how long you want to last as a band, you know. If your principal creative force is your singer and you value that, then, you know, if he's telling you that he can't deal with something, he's not mucking about, you know, because he wants to be able to carry on creatively as much as you do, obviously, because he's writing this stuff. So listen to him. Don't ignore when these things happen, because you will get bullied around, and a lot of the time people around you who are asking you to do this, they're not even deliberately bullying you. They have their agenda and you've got yours, but it's very easy to forget that the thing that you have to be most protective about is the thing that gets you up in the morning and the thing that force that makes you want to carry on writing. And if you lose that, what's the point in you being there? You know, go and do something else. And I guess in the back of my mind, it worries me when a band like who's just signed are already in that situation. I kind of think that's messed up, but I've seen it so much that I don't understand why people haven't got it yet. You know, it's like, what is the point?
You obviously learn a good deal about yourself and other people during more than a decade of being in a group. Radiohead themselves have evolved almost out of recognition from the amateur group they were just over 10 years ago. Here's Tom Yorke again.
The only reason for that is that because we started getting into with the Kid Amnesiac thing, where I think we just finally gave up with this idea of like, we have to be a rock band, or we have to do this, or we have to play like this, that's it. Because, you know, before you get paid for a living for doing it, you think of it in a different way. You're just like, well, it's a recreation and it's fun and there's a joy in it, which can easily get lost. And we sort of, I think, you know, we reclaimed why we'd started a lot when we went out and we were touring on these two records, and it was so hard, and, you know, the band sort of almost broke up over it, and it was just so fractious and it didn't make sense. And then suddenly you understand what the hell you've been doing for the past 10 years, whatever it is. Which, of course, when you find these things out, is always blindingly obvious, which was that really you're kind of just not answerable to what you've done before anyway at all. You're not answerable to what you do next. Especially us, you know, we're sort of magpies really. We just take bits from here and bits from there, and that's what we do, for better or for worse, and we make it our own.
Just 'cause you feel it doesn't mean it's so.
They've progressed as musicians, they've changed their outlooks, they've tried different ways of operating as a band to suit their state of mind. Ed O'Brien.
I feel we left home at like 92, started touring, we came back at 98, and in a way things had changed, and I think we were like, why do we not feel comfortable? Why do you not feel entirely happy? Things doesn't feel right. So, and there are a lot of people that feel the same way, so, you know, I think this is our take, this is Tom, this is our take on how we feel about the situation that we live in, whether we're right or whether we're wrong, you know.
Yeah.
And it's our take on it, and we may well be wrong, but there are a lot of people as well who feel like us, so I don't think we are entirely wrong in like the way we feel.
Yet strangely, a decade on from their first top 10 hit, they've almost come full circle. Their eagerly anticipated new album was recorded, much like their debut, Pablo Honey, live in the studio. The band are enjoying the way they can test out new material live at gigs. They're more experienced now and more comfortable. They're hugely more popular, but it's still 5 blokes in a room making music that gives them a thrill. Ed O'Brien and Johnny Greenwood.
Doesn't feel as though it's changed that much.
No.
It really doesn't. I mean, in terms of the music, I mean, the personal stuff's changed, obviously, but the music side of it really hasn't changed. I mean, there's still the same feeling of being excited, being in a village hall playing in 1986 or whatever.
Yeah, we're lucky. We've still got the mood that not only does everyone really want to be in this band, but also all of us are still very interested, obsessed even in the music we're recording and what we're going to do next. And we're just lucky that we've never had that kind of cliche thing of someone in the band either losing interest or becoming interested in something else that isn't musical and kind of drifting away. You know, it's kind of which you see happening a lot in bands, or used to.
They get distracted. I mean, you get more successful, you have more money, you have more toys to do. So you just like men and their hobbies. It used to be music, and they become obsessed with fly fishing or whatever. And that's what they spend all their time doing. Because
we started so young, I guess this is what defined us when we were 15, 14. So you stick with it, really. It's really lucky that we started so young, I think. I think it's been our saving, really.
The green plastic watering can for a fake Chinese rubber plant and a fake plastic girl. And she bought from a rubber man in a town full of rubber plants to get rid of itself. wears him out. It wears him out. It wears. She looks like a real thing. She tastes like a real thing. My fake plastic love. But I can't help the feeling. I could blow through the ceiling. And if I just stayed around, and it wears me out. It wears me out. It wears me out. It wears me out. And if I could be who you wanted, if I could be who